What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel today for another review. I'm Niger, and I have with me, well, she is sweet and she is spooky. Shalise joins us tonight for our review of the new film, M3GAN 2.0, which comes to theaters June 27th. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. It's a heat wave right now. But that didn't stop me from seeing M3GAN 2.0.
It is hot in every
It's so
sense
hot.
of it. Not only the weather, but we're deep into the summer blockbuster season. And now we have our next one in M3GAN 2.0, obviously brought to you by Blumhouse and Atomic Monster. Now, I say this all the time when it comes down to Blumhouse, so it would only be right that I started off by saying it now. Now, I have zero faith in any Blumhouse project dropped into January, and M3GAN happens to be the only anomaly to that. And if you go look back at the track record of films by Blumhouse that came out in January, they just wasn't good to me. And I don't feel like I need to go down the list. But if you want me to name a few, I could. Like, I'll say like Night's Film wasn't good, wasn't the biggest. I wasn't the highest on Wolfman. But then there was M3GAN that one year. And I was just like,
I forgot Wolfman was Blumhouse.
Yep.
Oh my God.
And then it was M3GAN. And I was like, I like M3GAN. This feels like something refreshing. And it definitely, dances around different genres and different subject matters that we are aware of. But like, it just was so unique and cool. So now we come back with its sequel dropped in June, which to me was like, oh, I think they feel like there was more confidence in this because first of all, any film in January is definitely like a throwaway project. So I feel like this was a promotion for the title. And then we also know that they're expanding this universe, which we will talk about in a second. But just really quickly, going over the synopsis of this film, it takes place 2 years after M3GAN's Rampage. Her creator, Gemma, resorts to resurrecting her infamous creation in order to take down Amelia, a military-grade weapon who was built by a defense contractor who stole M3GAN's underlying tech. So that being said, you got out the theater. What was your first thoughts? Did you like it? Did you love it? And why? Did you hate it? Did you love it? Or why?
Yeah, so I was pleasantly surprised because I left the theater being like, yeah, now I can say that this is an icon. Like, slay. Like, now I can say that. Because with the first one, I was like, I'm warming up to M3GAN still, Like, I had fun, but everybody was quick to be like, oh my God, new icon. And I was like, all right, I'm going to need another installment before. Like, I need more from her. And I was so surprised that this one gives us a lot more. We get a lot more lore.
Yeah. I was also pleasantly surprised because with the promotional stuff and some of the stuff we saw back at CinemaCon earlier this year, I was like, yeah, of course I'm down for M3GAN 2.0. I wanted to see how they were going to expand the story and how they could keep us interested. But what they did really interesting to me was that they really shifted the tone of the film. I felt like the first one was more, not only because it had the shock factor of it being something, again, refreshing and different to things we sort of explored around with AI and tech and robots gone bad, but like the fact of the matter is like it had a bit of humor to it and there was a lot of charisma to the robot. And in fact, it was like a creepy thing that you actually didn't mind. But with this one, I felt like it was less gore, more of the comedy. And
yeah,
I found myself halfway through the film saying, I need you to stop with all the horror, with the gore, the implied gore that we're seeing from scene to scene. There's some things that kind of happen. You're just like, yeah, I kind of want to see that. Like, at least for me, I like instead of the blood splatter on the wall or on the screen, like, let me see a thing or two. And I feel like maybe only once or twice in the entire film did they actually say, here you go. Here's the gore. We know you wanted it right here for you. But here's what I want to say. Then I'm going to give it to you. I thought about it for a minute and I said, I wonder if the reason why they shifted the tone is because they want to take M3GAN in a direction that they know sort of feels sort of family friendly because they saw how good the merch did, the cosplays and all that stuff was. So they want to keep it grounded on that note. And then with the announcement of them expanding the universe to the erotic thriller, as they label it, Soulmate, which is coming out in 2026, which again is in the M3GAN universe, which if you hadn't heard about this is
I
about
didn't.
when, well, the simplest way to put this is that if you are lonely and you want a soulmate, you can acquire one with a financial, lump sum purchase. But
Yeah,
what
it's like
happens when that
companion in a
person
way.
loves you? What happens when that person loves you so much that it doesn't want anybody to get near you? And that includes best friends, that includes family, and something that you thought was just going to be a little love piece ends up becoming a terror robot. So that right there says, here's what y'all want on the adult scale. Probably going to be gory out, but M3GAN is going to stay more family friendly, more with the comedy, and thus we can satisfy two audiences in the same universe. And if they ever cross over, we'll get there. But right now, this seems to be the roadmap. And I thought about that very, very thoroughly. And I'm not mad at that. So I say all that to say, if you are hardcore with the gore, don't be disappointed, because I think there's reason behind it. And all you have to do is wait 1 year, next year, 2026, for Soulmate to drop, which I think is going to satisfy that audience that was introduced to M3GAN, but also with the possibility of how that is my thought. What's your thoughts about that? And then ultimately, let's hear more about your thoughts about the film. Like, what were some of the things that really stood out to you? What were some things that you wish had been better or different? Talk to me.
Yeah, so I agree on the gore. I kind of found myself forgetting it was a horror movie the whole time, because it really leans into comedy, and also they're really leaning for like, girly pop kind of bubblegum vibes. And I think that was like hinted in the first one, but they didn't really figure out like where they wanted to be on that scale yet, and now they're starting to figure it out. I don't think it's like perfect, but I think they're really starting to figure out where they fit.
Yeah.
Gore wise, I don't feel like the first movie like really had a lot of that either. And gore is something I could take or leave. I never thought M3GAN was like a gore girl anyways, so I'm okay with it. Though there were some kills that I'm like, okay, we could have seen that.
Yeah.
But yeah, outside of that, I liked the film as a whole because we get a lot of interesting things going on with like our core people, like Gemma and Cady. We get a lot more of their relationship, and we see like what's going on. Obviously, we're going to keep this spoiler free, but like we see a lot more of like how Gemma's feeling about parenting and things like that. And then like M3GAN kind of has like more of an effect, I think, on them in this one than the first one, which is really what I wanted. And also, I was obsessed with our new bot, Amelia.
Yeah. And why? Why did you love Amelia?
Amelia was serving face. Are you kidding me? Yo. Amelia was serving face. Like, she was giving Bond girl vibes. And I also loved all of the fight choreography. I thought she was great.
Big same.
Great addition.
As somebody who obviously has a very I don't want to say soft spot or whatnot, but I love martial arts films. Like it's always going to be a watch for me.
I'm so happy we could talk about this because I am a Taekwondo girl. So I was very happy to see all the martial arts in this movie.
I was just thoroughly surprised of just how much mixed martial arts was in it. A ton of judo, I would say, but like the fight choreography was not on my expected list for this film. And it delivered a super solid final boss fight or big fight feel in the third act that I was just like, holy shit, what that definitely was not expected, and it was done very, very well. So I say that to say that this film, there's a lot of inspiration from all over. So when I think about the final fight, I think about Kill Bill. When I think about some of the other elements of it, and I we didn't talk, y'all, but there was one thing that was said to me, and I don't want to steal your thunder, but I will just say it, that there is absolutely so much inspiration from Terminator 2 in this. And
I'm saying,
I will let you get your point on that. But the one thing I will say that my feeling, besides like certain angles and everything, I even thought the color grading looked like old school Terminator when they were in a particular process. If you didn't, if you had just woke up and saw a particular scene, you may actually think this is Terminator. I felt like down to the color grading, it
I
felt like
agree.
Terminator. But why did you say that you thought it was there was inspiration and vibes from Terminator 2? What was it that you saw?
I agree with that. No, you're good. I agree with that on the coloring. And also for some reason and this is also why I loved Amelia. I feel like her character really is what sold it for me on like the Terminator vibes. Because even like a lot of like, I will keep it spoiler free, but like her fits going on, especially in the last act, I was like, oh, I'm seeing it. And of course all of the fighting too.
Yeah.
But
yeah. I mean, I'll give hints. There was an arm creation, very much like
that was the obvious one.
Yeah, that when you see that scene, you're gonna be like, oh, I know exactly what that is. Yes, Amelia definitely had interests, and there was waltz. There was even ways how they shot her panning that you was like, oh, I know exactly what that is inspired by. There's really a lot of inspiration from a lot of different things here. And another thing I'll say you can look forward to is like you are a big 80s, 90s baby. You're going to see other things. I mean, there's an iconic theme from an iconic car that we all know about. I don't even want to give that away because I popped so crazy when I heard it. And I was like, yes. They cleared the Maxwell song out of nowhere. And you'll just see what that is. And I was like, whoa, wasn't expecting that. And of course it's M3GAN. So you know she hit some dance moves and that was really cool as well. But the one thing I think it's very safe to say that M3GAN, and I, you know, this is in a way I don't want to disservice the work by Jenna Davis, who voices this M3GAN, and then obviously Amy Donald, who physically plays M3GAN for their work. But I have to say that M3GAN's sort of performance and delivery gives you Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool. There was the sassiness, the clapbacks, you know, the sarcasm, the wit. It's just like how Deadpool was working with Wolverine and all the Deadpool previous films. But like, you know, like Ryan, he's so good at it, and he brought so much to the character Deadpool. I have to say, the two of them working together to bring together M3GAN, it's just the same. Like M3GAN will clap back. You don't have to worry about it. She's going to have something to say. She has receipts on deck. I love the sassiness from her. But again, if you needed the best example of correlation to it, it's Deadpool and Ryan Reynolds' work. It's truly that. So like, if you love that type of humor, I say this is great. And the reason why I may even give it the slighter edge over it is because I am a sucker when it comes down to writing. I am a sucker. I like Deadpool did a lot of pop culture references. This one actually I felt used pop culture in terms of the lingo that they were using, that they're using.
It did.
It felt very like that's how I would talk. You know what I mean?
Even in the trailer, the use of the songs like Chappell Roan, Britney Spears.
Mm-hmm.
They're really on it.
Yeah.
Y2K girly is gonna love this one.
Talk to me a little bit more about some of the things you wasn't too fond of, or things you wish they had to do a little bit different, or maybe even more of.
Yeah. I feel like I don't have like a lot of complaints. I do feel like I did forget that this was a horror movie. Yeah. It did feel like heavy comedy, you know, heavy sci-fi, heavy on the action, but I'm an action girly, so I was okay with that. But I do wish we had more horror elements. Yeah, I mean, I don't really have a complaint as far as like the runtime or anything. I think this movie really just does it a lot better than the first movie for me. Yeah. Like, especially story-wise and beat-wise, like everything was going the whole time. So there's really like no point of dragging, which was good. I feel like the first one kind of had those issues for me, and this one feels more refined.
Yeah. I thought when I'm looking at some of the notes and some of the things I wrote, I really did enjoy Brian Jordan Alvarez's performance as Cole.
Oh
Cole is
yeah.
such a what's the word I'm looking for here? He's such a klutz at time. Like he has great moments. It is just they just work to the T. I would also say, and this goes for a couple of characters, I was not mad at the douchebag characters and the cringy dialogue that they attached to them. Because when you have those sort of cringy guys, and we know
Mhm.
you all know what we're talking about, the
Yes.
creepers out there. I
Yes.
love that the creepers felt very creepy. Where like it was across the board, no matter your sex or no matter your whatever. I felt like when creepy was introduced on screen, everybody in the crowd was like, "Oof, that wasn't
Yeah.
good." And I think that's a testament to like good writing and obviously a good acting performance to be able to give you those moments that it is understood that yeah, that person might want to keep away from. Little creepy, maybe a lot of creepy.
No, yeah, for sure. Yeah, all
uh,
the characters had so much more to do in this one too. So
good
we got so
point.
much more of their personality.
Good point. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just looking again at this other stuff too. Like, yeah, again, clothes, his little dipsiness was hilarious. I feel like the film never really takes itself serious, which is fun. Which is,
Yeah.
I mean, literally, it's a fun movie. It's entertaining for them doing that. They do have very normal themes in terms of like the overall plot of the film, like the dangers of AI
Yeah.
protection, kids too much exposure to tech and have a good balance of that. Like they cover all of that. So like the plot isn't so deep in the sense of like you got to be like a engineer or some type of master technician to figure out what's going on. They introduce very
Right.
simple things. I thought they did dumb it down so that people can enjoy it. To say like, hey, you're on your iPad too much. That's probably isn't good. Hey, AI is everywhere you're around. We probably want to have some regulations in place because let's just see how bad it could go. If we just allowed to do
Yeah.
whatever. You mentioned the parent dynamic. I mean, you can say parent. Excuse me. The parent dynamic or aunt with niece
Right.
dynamic that goes on. I thought that was very easily digestible as well too.
Oh yeah.
What
I
did you
think
think about Allison's overall performance as well too?
Oh, I was so happy with her performance, especially in the final act because she finally gets to like do so much and I don't want to give anything away, but everyone's going to love the moment I'm talking about.
Yeah.
um but yeah, she has a lot more growth. There's so much. There's a really authentic scene between her and Megan that I really liked. That had me kind of like, wow, I was not expecting M3GAN 2.0 to make me emotional today. But yeah, and then it does its typical like M3GAN thing where it like comes through with comedy, so there's no time to be crying. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I really liked her character a lot more. They gave her a lot more to
Yeah.
do.
I'll be honest and say too, I was looking at like other inspirations. I also wrote Spy Kids.
I could see that. It's been a
Yeah.
minute since I've seen Spy Kids, but I could see that.
Just on certain parts, I was like, this is Spy Kids, like to the T. And it definitely has a lot to do with M3GAN here. But overall, I enjoyed this film. And I think that going into this film and looking to have fun, sort of lowering your expectations because I feel like they're shifting the tone, they're shifting the direction of M3GAN itself. And again, they're expanding the universe and the franchise. So, like, I think it's going to be interesting when we have the two mesh with one another because it's the idea of and maybe this is another good comparison of Deadpool Wolverine because Wolverine is overly serious and Deadpool isn't. What does it look like if they have to be on the same page or they're against each other? And I think that might be what they're setting up here with M3GAN 2.0 and with Soulmate. And why wouldn't they? Because they have literally borrowed inspiration from so many other projects, iconic projects. So why wouldn't that be something they consider? And I really truly think that might be where it's going. Also, the character Christian, he's a douche, and again, the douchiness of these folks, they just nailed it.
Yes.
They just truly nailed it.
Yup. Trying
That's
to be
all
the
I
nice guy.
Go ahead, go off.
It's always the ones that act like they're the nice guy and they're safe, and then they switch up on you. You know what I mean? I was like, of course. He looked too sneaky anyway.
There's a good twist in this film, on both sides of the film, both in the beginning and in the end. So just be ready to have a little bit of a surprise or aha moment or I knew it moment. They're definitely all in there. So, and it definitely looks like beyond them expanding the universe, but M3GAN 2.0. We're when and where we're going to get that. I think it's a no-brainer. There is no mid-credit or after-credit scene, so no reason to stay around for that. But I definitely think that if you were a fan of the first one, you definitely want to check this out. And if you had not seen the first one, I think you can watch this and enjoy it, but you probably want to go back and watch the first one, especially you can get the Cady and M3GAN relationship and the conflict between Gemma and how everything kind of transpired with the three of them and why there is sort of some animosity in the beginning. But ultimately it's called M3GAN 2.0 because there has to be a new version of M3GAN. You have to understand, well, what happened to the first version or why there needs to be an upgrade, and that stuff is definitely answered. You get part of that answer going into watching the first one, and then obviously the rest of it by going into this. So Miss, any closing thoughts? I don't know if you do ratings. I don't know if you want to give it any type of closing sentiments, but when it comes to M3GAN 2.0, what's your final thoughts on it?
My final thoughts are that you absolutely should go see M3GAN 2.0. It is girly pop meets Terminator 2. Easy. She's iconic. She slays. Summer, like movie of the summer, honestly. I am probably going to be giving M3GAN 2.0 4 out of 5.
Okay. I enjoyed it. I'll say if we're going out of 5, I'll say about 3. I enjoyed it, had a good time. It definitely was a great step forward from the first one. I think there's still a lot of appreciation for both. And I just can't wait to see what else it does. I think there's a lot more room for it to grow. I think there's a lot more that they can do, and they definitely made it in a way that the possibilities are endless now. And I think also with the ideal of technology and AI growing in the real world, that continues to breed ideas for a film like this. I mean, who would have thought, your vacuum robot that you have around your house could be used as a weapon? Well, yep, you watch this film, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. And so there's going to be other things that you're going to be like, man, I never thought. And they're going to be like, yep, we didn't either, but here we are. And I'm with it all the way. So either way, I definitely think it's definitely a watch, a good change of pace from the first one, and maybe just a change out right now to check out. So M3GAN 2.0 in theaters June 22nd. Get in the comments, let us know your thoughts, your excitement, your predictions for the future, all that good stuff when it pertains to M3GAN. And as always, stick around for more reviews and interviews, content, all that good stuff on both of our channels, which you see in the description below real soon. We appreciate you watching. We had a lot of fun hanging out with you all, and we'll definitely be doing it a lot more. So thank y'all for tonight. We'll see y'all back very soon. I